My dear students, and welcome back. Today, we try to explore the different ways people around the world and around times have defined or understood personality. So, I have titled here called Personality Theories as experienced by people at different times. Ancient times, they have been fascinated, confused, at a loss to explain the different personality styles. People are uniquely different, and it's not always easy to explain what they encounter, what they face, what they see in their families, in their societies. So they come up with many theories to explain why these differences in personalities. So some of them went by elements of nature to distinguish personalities. Some others went for animal instincts. A third group, body fluids, body structure, brain structure, or parental beliefs, values, attitudes. In many ways, they try to explain what they see in human beings as different. Psychodynamic, Freud and Jung, they are gone by that. Psychodynamic, the unconscious, sexual, etc. Humanistic, positive growth, etc. Trait, Alport, you have studied already the ocean acronym, the 5 traits there, going by those categories. There are people who went by cognitive, you know, GNOSC in Greek means nose. Same pronunciation, different spelling. So, co-de, understanding it together. Diagnose, the doctor used the word. That means I cut open, die, to understand, to know, knows, diagnose. So, cognitive, nature elements or body fluids or body shapes or male and female components. We are going to start from very ancient civilizations. You see here alpha and omega from the Greek letters. So one of the earliest is the 4 temperaments based on the 4 elements of nature. Remember, in India, we consider the Panchabhut or 5 elements. The difference is the ancient Greek and Egyptian or Mesopotamian, they don't make a distinction between Akash or Gagan and air. They put one word for both. In India, you make a distinction between Vayu and Akash or Gagan. That's why we have 5 elements in India compared to the earliest Greek, Mesopotamian, or Egyptian. So they start from the outside, from the nature, to understand personality. So you see here those four elements: fire, air, and water, and earth. And the ancient world consider that as uh, four elements in nature as four behaviors in people. Four
Hello,
behaviors in
I'd like to
people.
welcome you to this presentation of Discovering Personalities. For the next few minutes, I'll be teaching how to better understand personalities, and more importantly, how to better understand yourself and others for improved communication relationships. Personalities over time have been evaluated by the smartest of scientists, and even today science wants to know, what makes people tick? Why do we do the things we do? Going back to the earliest of times and up until the present, the desire to predict and understand personalities has greatly increased. Several thousand years ago, a standard model was formed declaring that there are four basic personalities. You might recognize them. There is fire, air, earth, and water. And just as it says, fire, hot, driven, wanting to get things done now. Air, breathy, a lot of conversation. Sunshiny. Earth, structured, control, boundaries. Water, deep thinking and emotional. And over these many years, this was the most dominant method to determine what makes people tick. And then came a more accurate method in the early 1900s, personality evaluations. These evaluations simply use questions and answers that place you in one of the same four categories. But as you know, that the vast majority of personality evaluations are not much better than astrology, in that you can read almost anyone's personality description and having a feeling that a certain level of you have some part of all of the other personalities in you. Now let's jump to a more modern time. The simple truth is that personality evaluations are measuring if you are right brain or left brain, and if you're an extrovert or an introvert. As you can see, the right brain best understands and focuses on art and music, creativity, intuition, holistic thinking, and humanistic thought. And the left brain is analytic, structure, language, logic, science, and math. But there's a continual challenge keeps coming up in the simple self-evaluations. They only tell you basic descriptions of each personality and not truly about you. For example, what if you have two dominant types? Or what if you use both left and right brain at the same time? Well, what has been found is that not only is this significant, but because of the ability to use computers to do all of the math necessary, no longer is old school self-evaluations good enough. We can not only test if you're left brain or right brain, we can test to see if you use both sides of the brain at the same time and when you use them. We use colors to describe 6 personalities. As you can see, the red is a left brain extrovert, a doer. The orange uses both sides of the brain as an extrovert and also as a doer. The yellow personality is a right brain extrovert.
You get a quick picture of these four personality from the ancient people. The fire means you're fire. You are driven person. That we also use that. Air means more conversation, social life, and stuff like that. And water means deep, emotional, etc. And earth means structure, control, boundary. More earthy person, we use that word in English. So you can see that they consider these four personalities from these elements of nature. I made some correlation with the Enneagram or what you learned as type A there and type B here. These two, this you have studied, Enneagram I'm teaching now. So 297 tend to be more like a conversational style, etc. And number 6 like more boundary, etc. So you have an understanding of personalities from the Enneagram and from type A, type B, etc. Indians speak of Panchabhudam, the 5 elements. Sometimes they are connected with the 5 fingers. This is the Agni or the thumb, the fire, and the forefinger, the air, Vayu, and the middle finger, the ether or Akash, Gagan, and ring finger is the earth, and the 5th, Jal or water, Neer, Bhagavan, and is Neer, little finger. So these 5 are also connected, the five fingers, to the Indian understanding of Panchabhut. And if you hold your fingers like this, try holding this now. Okay, the middle finger, you fold it, bring it together, and touch the 4 together. Okay, you got it? The middle finger, fold it and hold it tightly, and touch all the other 4 tightly. Okay. Now, can you remove the thumb alone? Yes. Hold the others tight. You can remove them. You will leave your parents. The meaning is you will leave your parents. Okay. If you leave your parents, your children also will leave you. The little finger. Okay. You will leave your parents. Your children also will leave you. And the index is your friends, your siblings, your brother, sister also will leave you. You can remove that also. See if you can remove your ring finger. Hold it tight and see. Ordinarily, you can't. You can't do this in this posture. That is the earth. That is a wedding. That's why you're bound together. You leave your parents. Your children will leave you, but you don't leave your spouses. The ring finger. That's why the ring is put on that and is held together. So you can remove it. So it is as a nature's meaning and the Indian understanding as well of the earth. You're bound to the earth like, so symbol there beautifully combined. Second, now we go to the ancient Greeks again, for the Egyptian Mesopotamian to the Greeks there. Some of these names you may have heard, ancient Greek philosophers, Hippocrates and all that you must have heard. They call the word humor. Okay, humor doesn't mean joke or tamash. Humor means, what does humor means? Got it? Body fluid. So in Indians also use the same idea, a body fluid. We'll come to that. First, we will see the ancient Greek. What does that fluid mean? So it is connected to the biological fluids are in the body, and so therefore biological connection is there. Zach Anderson is going to act out these 4 personalities with the same event, how they react to the same event. So there is a thumbtack sitting on a chair. Thumbtack you put for the notice board, and four people are going to sit on it, and how each one reacting differently to the same situation. We learn behavior is the combination of personality and environment. We have here similar, same situation of the thumbtack, but four different personalities react to that differently. Let us see the acting. These are students practicing psychology and the characters like this as part of their course.
First, Zach will be a sanguine character.
Először Zach egy szangvinikus lesz.
So that is sanguine.
Jó napot kívánok! Milyen csodálatos nap van ma. Annyira örülök, hogy élek. Itt virágok vannak, kedves emberek. Örülök, hogy itt lehetek. Valaki tett a székemre egy rajszöget. Ki volt ez? Ez óriási. Ez egy nagyon jó trükk. Köszönöm szépen, hogy ennyire fellelkesedtétek a napomat. Örülök, hogy itt vagyok.
Most jön a kolerikus ember. Okay?
Choleric.
Ki csinálta ezt? Ó, mi a vicc? Ki csinálta ezt? Hogyha én nem tudom meg, hogy ki csinálta ezt, akkor mindenki meg fog halni.
Everyone is going to die.
Most jön a melancholikus Zach.
Melancholy.
Az élet az olyan, mint egy rajszög. Rövid, kemény és nagyon-nagyon fáj.
És az utolsó persze phlegmatikus Zach.
Phlegmatic. So, sanguine. Sanguine is blood. So he makes a joke about it, make fun about it. It's much lighter approach. I'll come to the Enneagram number related to this. The second is choleric, yellow bile, self-important, angry person. Third is melancholic, black bile, artistic, poetic, pitiful, counselor, etc. And the fourth one is phlegmatic, mucus, phlegmatic, calm, cool, gentle. So you have four personalities. They're all related to later to Enneagram, connected to that. Now look here. The first was sanguine. And what number I'm going to give you see for the Enneagram? Number 7. The jovial, fun-loving, the pleasant, joking, love to drink and eat and have a, make all the merry. So that's a sanguine. The second we saw here was the choleric. That's a number 8. The powerful, controlling, strong personality. And then you have the melancholic, the 4, the artistic, sorrowful type of thing, personality. Many of them, they are painters and all. Then you have the phlegmatic. That's a 9, peaceful, don't want to hurt, don't want to be hurt. So like a phlegmat. So you see the 4 personalities of Enneagram connected to these humors we call it. I suppose you can relate to them. Notice phlegmatic and melancholic both are usually introvert, and the choleric and the sanguine generally are extrovert. Okay. We're coming to India. We use the word here, doshas. In some of the languages in the south, dosha means something bad, something negative. It is not the same understanding here. The word Ayurveda, okay, Ayur means life, and Veda we can say science of life, Ayurvedic science of life. Around 3000 BC, and we are going to make 3 metabolic body types again with the fluid, similar to what we saw now, fluid. What is the name of the fluid? I'm sure many of your grandparents will know the names, and you may have also heard in the family these 3 names. They will say, I got Vata, like that. I got Kapha. I got Pitta. So, Vata, or in the south they may say Vatham, Kapham, Pittam. They are related to the same way 3 fluids in the body. In the olden days, all the treatments were done from that point of view to determine. We continue with the body, but now it is the outside part of the body, not the inside the fluid. Soma means body. Soma means body. So when we say psychosomatic, psychosomatic means psycho, mind, body. Many illnesses, many Ayurvedic or more nature therapists would say it is psychosomatic, soma, body and mind problem connected. Many illnesses are connected this way. Let's see if we can make these connections to all of them that we can understand later. Okay, the person who advocated is William Sheldon. It is not very old, you can see that. Psychosomatic illnesses, mind, body. You see the shapes of people are different here. So we look at that. So they are used 3 words here. Ectotype. Ecto basically is the mind, head people. Ecto. Okay. Endo is more the fat. And mezzo is the muscle. So head, okay, fat, and then the muscle people. So ectotype, endotype, mesotype. The Z, any of the European languages, including Italian, the Z, Americans call Z, is pronounced with a T. Okay, so we say pizza, not pizza, pizza. Okay, schizophrenic. So you use when you use this Mozart, we use a T for Z pronunciation, Z pronunciation. Okay. So if you look at the shape, you can see they are lanky people, little thinnish, militia, and these are fat people, the heart people, so head people, heart people, and then the gut people or the muscle. Okay, so they go by body shapes or body types, somatotypes. They call them ecto, endo, meso. I'll come back to this later, little later. If we put them together, the Indian Vata is head, ecto, Kapha, endo, heart, Pitta is mezzo, gut. So you can see the connection now with these three things. Ayurveda, Western, and our body, somatotype, see the link between all three. Management sociologist, this you have learned, some of this already are learned. From one is the animal instinct. An animal in danger does one of the two things, fight or flee. And we have the same understanding ourselves. Human beings follow very often these animal instinct within us. We fight or flee. Accordingly, we speak about the left brain and the right brain people, or type A and type B. Okay, fight or flee. So the type A, you have learned that type A are competitive, time urgent, aggressive, speed, work alone, conflict they can face. Whereas here on the right side, you have a relaxed, one thing at a time, sensitive, accuracy is important, work in team, dialogue. So I don't want to spend much time. We already learned a type and a type B. So basically, if you look at the picture, you can see, for type A, it's on the top of the mountain. It is here. Whereas for the type B, it is on the valley relaxing and having a picnic. So it is here life is. For them, life is on the top. Their life is down below. So there are two ways of looking at life. We call type A and type B. The Koreans and the West will call this yin and the yang. Feng Shui and all follows that. The yin and the yang. If you carefully look at this, the yin is black. Notice that this is black, and yang is white. This side is white, this side is black. We'll come to explain that in a minute. So you see the two sides. What is that? The male and the female. We learned earlier about male and the female. Okay, left brain is male and right brain is female. Same thing as type A and type B. Similar to that, you can also call from the Chinese or Korean point of view, the yin and the yang. So the yin is feminine, yang is masculine, dark, weak, bright, strong, passive, active, downward, upward, cold, hot, contracting, and expanding. So you see the difference between the yin and the yang. So if you read carefully there, you can see there are two opposites in one way, yet they are interconnected. Like your brain, there are two different type of function, but they're also interconnected. Is the belief the Chinese have, the yin and the yang. Radhanath Swami gives the story of this woman, Sindhu Thai, a very moving and touching story, how her road was filled with thorns and how she learned to befriend the thorns and change them into, in a way, beautiful flowers, caring for thousands of children. Let us listen to that beautiful story here.
I heard of one lady. In brief summary, she was born in a poverty-stricken village in Maharashtra, India. She never really had any education. When she was a little girl and wanted to go to school, her family made her take care of the buffaloes. When she was 8 years old, she was married. I think actually she was 9 years old. She was married to a man who was about 30. By the time she was 19, she had 3 sons, and she was pregnant. A mafia type of person who was exploiting the people of the village was especially forcing the women of the village to work really hard and paying them practically nothing. And everyone was afraid. But Sindhu Thai told the local collector, who was overseeing the police, and that person was stopped from what he was doing. But he was so angry. He went and told Sindhu Thai's husband a lie. He said, "You are such a fool. Your wife is having affairs with so many men. In fact, the child that is within her womb is my child, not yours. I've been having sex with her. If you don't kill the child and kill her, I will kill you." So the husband, the girl's 19 years old, he kicked her in the chest, not in the chest, in the stomach, repeatedly, to kill her and the child. She laid unconscious. He thought she was dead. So he dragged her to a cow shed where a whole herd of cows are being kept, thinking that people will feel that the cows just trampled her and that's how she died. So she laid there unconscious. And when she woke up, she said, she found one cow standing right above her, protecting her. There were all these buffaloes and oxen and cows walking, and they would have certainly trampled her. But this cow was keeping everything away from her. And even when the in-laws came to make sure she was dead, the cow chased them away with their horns and stood over her. She came to consciousness and gave birth to a baby girl under the cow. And she said she took a rock and cut her umbilical cord. Took about 20 slices to get free from it. And for hours and hours, the cow protected. And Sindhutai, when she got enough strength, she embraced the cow and promised, as you protected me when I was in great need, I will protect others who are in need. It's a long story, but no one would have her back. Her own family rejected her, her biological family, because according to their tradition, once you're married, you could never come back home. A foolish tradition, as many are these days. In order to not be exploited, she was sleeping in a crematorium with her little baby child. And she would collect wheat that people would put around the dead bodies, and she'd mix it with water and cook it on the fires of the dead corpses. It became such a depressing life for her. She decided, I don't want my child to live like this. So she was going to commit suicide. She went to a railway track with her child in her arms and laid waiting for the train to crush them. But as she was laying there, she heard someone crying in anguish. So she got up and she found an old man who was crying out. He was crippled. He was very, very invalid. He was crying for some food and water. So she went and begged and got him food and water. And she was thinking that old man was the voice of God. She called Krishna. She said, was telling me that I had a higher purpose in life than to commit suicide. I have something to do, something to contribute to this world. But then later in the day, she was sitting in a field wondering, what am I going to do? I have nothing. I have no one. How can I help anyone? She was under a tree, and she saw that there was a branch of the tree that a woodsman with an axe had violently cut. The branch was just hanging by a single string. But that branch was giving her and her child shade. So she was thinking, this is the answer. However much I have been beaten down, still I could do something for others. So she started going and finding homeless, abandoned, orphan children. And she became their mother, taking care of them. Somehow or other, she learned how to sing really nice, and she begged with her singing, and she provided for them, and somehow or other kept them safe. And after some time, people saw what a difference she was making to so many people that they built an orphanage for her. Over the years, she said, she's had about 1,500 children, over 1,000 grandchildren. And she's made a tremendous difference in her life. All of her children have a great education. Many are doctors and lawyers and farmers, something she never had. She's won so many awards internationally for her accomplishments. But then she explained what the most meaningful and fulfilling thing she ever did in life. Years and years later, after the president of India gave her awards and governors of states and international awards, this really old man came to her orphanage. He was starving. He was sick. He was homeless. He was asking for shelter. After a few minutes, she recognized this was her ex-husband, the person who tried to murder her maliciously. She said to him, when you left me to die, I was homeless in rags. Now you're homeless in rags, and I have a nice place with so many people. She said the most meaningful thing in her life is she forgave him. And she said, I will give you shelter, but I'm not your wife. I'm your mother. And when people would visit the orphanage, she would introduce him. This is my eldest son, and sometimes he's very naughty. She told a story. It moved me. So at one place, I shared this story, and somehow it was on YouTube. And in her orphanage, someone showed it to her. So she wanted to meet me. So in Pune, I met her. And she was with a couple other people. And we spoke for about an hour together. It was a wonderful conversation. And afterward, there was one lady who was sitting next to her, who was just beaming with smiles the whole time, but didn't say much of anything. And when I was just about to leave, Sindhutai said, I want to introduce you to this girl. She's the one who was born under the cow. She's now a medical doctor, and she's taking charge of one of our orphanages. And then she said to me, I consider all of the tragedies in my life to have been gifts to empower me to make a difference to others. She considered it all the grace of God. She said, my life has been a road with many thorns, but I made friends with those thorns, and my life became beautiful, and I could give beauty to so many other people's lives. That's one little example of influence without affluence. The power of compassion is far greater than anything that money can do. But when money and knowledge and strength and skills are built on the foundation of that compassion, then not only is our own life enriched beyond our comprehension, but we can make such a difference. We can have such an influence in the world. Each and every one of us, whoever we are, because everyone is so inherently special. And nothing and no one can take that away from us, as long as we are aware. To be an instrument of compassion, an instrument of grace, is the true influence, beyond affluence. Thank you very much.
Management psychologist. You already learned. I'm going to just quickly pass through that. Some of these terms, I'm sure you know them. The ocean acronym, you know, very easy to remember. Open. After O, you have C, conscious, conscientious, conscientious. Then you go to E, extroverted. A, agreeable. And neurotic, neuroticism. That is use another word, stable. Since you're already done, I am quickly passing over that you know that. Agreeable, conscientious, openness, extroversion, emotional stability. Many people are different acronym used for this. You may use something similar to that, except that for the exam, you better stick to ocean. Now, the test is all done, and some of you already received uh, the result, and you already done this also before. So I'm going to give a quick explanation. In life, you have to take decisions every day, hundreds of decisions. Should I eat idli or bread or chapati, roti? Should I take an auto rickshaw or a Uber? Every day we have to take a lot of decisions. And in order to take a decision, what you need? You need information. You need information or data. That data can be got by sensory factors or by intuitive factors. So I must collect the data that is required. I may go to internet, I may ask a friend, I may find it somewhere, but I must collect the data. I can't go by only intuitive, is good day or bad day. You should say, okay, Sunday they don't open. I should know that data. Okay, now restaurants are limited. Transportation may be limited. So I need information. And once you get information, what you should do, you should interpret the information, analyze it. Okay, information must be analyzed, interpreted. That is number 3. It's very important to understand that you have to interpret that. So accordingly, those letters will come into play. If you are a J, that means you like to quickly act. You're a person go tired. Perceive means you sit on it, sit on it, sit on it. There's a difference between the two. Suppose I take this one and show you what is it, and the J person will say it's a pen. He had made a judgment quickly. So it's over. He said, because it is a pen, then I can't eat it like a candy. I don't know what a child may put in the candy because it doesn't know what it is. But a P person may not say it is a pen. He might say, it's about a 6 inches long and silver color and gray color here. It's got a clip-like thing. There's something written on it. So what they do is they describe it. Sometimes important to describe. So a J person says it's a pen, finito, close, khadam. A P person will describe it and take time. What does that mean in life? Suppose someone did something not very good, a J person, you did a stupid thing. They make a judgment, condemn, and say stupid, downright language. If you ask a poor person, well, I saw him with a glass of water in the hand. Next moment, I saw the glass and the water on the floor. Maybe she inadvertently dropped it, or someone bumped into her. or it happened, slipped away from her hand. She must have got a phone call or something. So the P person describes it such a way it doesn't hurt the other person, doesn't come to a conclusion, don't make a judgment, but describe the perceptive language. So there are times a dog is coming to bite you, it is good to make it, hey, dog coming, run away. I don't know whether dog will bite or not. That looks like a large dog. It could be by the time you finish describing, it bitten and killed this person. So there are times they are very good. There's a fire, there is an issue, there is something to be done quickly. They would be very good, very useful. But P will be very slow and too late. They call the ambulance or call the hospital or something quickly. J would come in very handy. But P people will be slow there. So remember, both personality type, temperament type, have their own advantage and disadvantage. And therefore, do not say this is the way it's going to be, the other one is bad. No. And then the acting is here. So finally, how quickly you can act on it. Extroverted people jump into conclusion. They run, they do so fast. The other one may be slow. So both have advantage as well as disadvantage. So you need to know that not all cases it's good or bad. In some cases they succeed or they may not succeed. Okay. So information, interpretation, decision, and action. So the four components you can see here. You can read more materials from the website. I posted so much of material there. You can have a look at them.